Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good evening. This is your boy B Terrell, and you're listening to TCSG 003.
Oh Lord.
It feels like so long since we've been on the original platform. I don't know.
You
It
like the
has been
other
a
way
minute.
better?
Would you say, Lo?
You like the other way better?
I like videos because yeah, get to throw back a few little shots here and there.
You just
I mean,
want to be seen.
my sponsor might be out there somewhere. I'm young
I'm
and
weak.
spry. But no, we thank you all, as always, for tuning in and listening this week on another episode of the Committee Spaces. And, um, I think the last time we were on here, we talked about we were right at the start of conference play, and we've seen some exciting games so far. And the big dogs have been out. So I guess now most have played around 3 to 4 or 5 ish conference games and kind of really setting their identities of what it'll look like, or who we know that I guess the contenders are in each conference. So far, who do you think has impressed you all, and what were some of your favorite games over the past week?
Hmm.
Who has impressed me? I would say that Kentucky has low-key impressed me. I know they have their gauntlet in February, and that's when we'll really see who Kentucky really is when it comes to like the top echelon of the SEC. But from what I've seen from them so far, I'm still impressed because I honestly thought they already get their ass beat by now, and they sitting unranked. So shout out to them.
See, I think I'm the opposite. I'm still not impressed because they haven't played anybody yet. I think but I'm not like I would say I'm indifferent. You know?
See, I had low expectations,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why
Yeah, I
my
didn't think.
expectations were low.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't think they would be horrible. I didn't think they would be great. So it was just kind of like, indifferent. So that's why I think now for me, I'm still like indifferent. Impressed. I'm really trying to think. I will say they lost by 20, but I was more impressed by Baylor than I didn't expect Baylor to fare as well as they did against UTLA. To be honest,
Yeah,
um,
they fought really hard in that game.
yeah,
Like I
that surprised
definitely
me.
when they were down big just to start the game, I was like, oh, this is done. And then they fought themselves back into it, and I was like, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
No, I'm about to start yawning.
sorry,
Okay,
but I will say,
you
of
all
course,
talked about the gauntlet.
I'm
No, go ahead.
impressed. I'm impressed by South Carolina, of course. That surprised the fuck out of me.
Yeah, they've
Agree, to
had
be
some games
honest.
that they
You
really
said you
they
don't,
really
or you
dropped their.
agree?
No, I agree. I feel like sometimes when it comes to like top teams, we don't appreciate what they're doing on the court. But like for South Carolina to be in this gauntlet, air quote, gauntlet, they are whooping ass. Like I expected them to handle business at home because they're really tough at home, but it just seems like they just keep getting better. Offensively, they're getting better. Defensively, they're getting better. You're seeing them continue to grow. And like, I'm impressed with how they've done so far in these stretch of games.
Especially when you see how they started the season.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I know, like, it's like, okay, they South Carolina, they're being good, they're dominant. Yeah, sure, if you're looking at box scores, but if you're really watching, no. So if you were really watching, no, 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 no. So they're impressive.
And a lot of people have been talking about, oh well, they're playing all their games at home. They're tough games. I mean, they lost to UCLA at UCLA, but Clemson, we saw how that one started. North Carolina State, they were pretty much in Charlotte, which is their backyard. I mean, I guess kind of neutral. It depends.
Cause Charlotte closer to us than them.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's I guess a Columbia game,
But
but Michigan,
honestly, fuck that. They earned it because didn't nobody want to play them at home
That's
during the
true.
non-conference. And
that
so
that is
they've
true.
literally been on the road for all of their tough games or at a neutral court for every single tough game they've had during the non-conference outside of, Duke. But they've earned it. So fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Very true, very true.
And you remember Dime was like, I'm. It kind of frustrates me because our fans are so great and they don't get to see. They hadn't been able to see us playing in really quality games at home. So that's true.
Yeah. And so you all mentioned the gauntlet that Kentucky is about to go on, which starts. I mean, I guess the last day of January they're facing a ranked Alabama. Then they go to Oklahoma. Then they go to which will probably be the best defense that they've seen so far in the SEC. They go to Ole Miss, even though Kentucky is ranked higher than Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a really tough and scrappy team. Then they have Texas. So and then they close out the season. They close out the season against LSU, Tennessee, and
Yeah.
at
A
South Carolina.
gauntlet.
That's a rough
They
child.
about to get like they finna come out that thing battle tested.
Yeah, like their February is hard. Like Sands, Georgia, and Missouri, that's a really tough February for them. So
Hmm.
it's going to be really interesting. And you all talked about. Let's talk about the Coretta Scott King Magic City Classic that featured no black
Not
coaches.
Magic City.
What did we think about that?
Mm.
I like the idea of the tournament. I would like for them to maybe in the future, if it's something that they're going to continue doing, maybe have like one matchup be a big Power Four matchup, similar to what it was this year, but then maybe let the other matchup be like an HBCU matchup.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool. Like maybe even, like some of the top two teams from the HBCU scene the previous year or something like that. I think that would be
and
dope.
it doesn't even have to be within the same conference. It can be
Oh
Right.
like
yeah.
SWAC versus MEAC, or
Yeah.
we do have Hampton, Tennessee State, and A&T that are HBCUs, but not in HBCU conferences. So like maybe because right now I think A&T is sitting at the top; they're undefeated in the Colonial. Excuse me, they changed the name to Coastal, I think. So the CAA.
Oh, they
So like
did.
yeah, it's now the Coastal Athletic Association, something like that. And so, like, though that is a really good opportunity because I think a lot of these tournaments and these showcases have really missed the mark. I mean, we see some that's the HBCU showcase by Lori Harvey, young man, and he hosts it in Jersey. And I feel like certain things when they're HBCU specific, Jersey's probably not the best place for it. That's what I think. I feel like those are the things that need to be no further north than a DC. So like maybe your DCs, your Charlottes, your Atlantas in those areas. I get it. You're trying to spread the awareness because some of those tournaments used to be in Vegas. They then since moved it from Vegas to I think Uncasville. So like a lot of these tournaments, they have good intentions, but for what they're trying to do, they're in like the wrong places. So for this particular one, like you said, two Power Five or two of your like maybe your nationally ranked teams against like two of your top HBCUs. I think that can really be a great opportunity to give
And
them.
tell them to bring their bands.
Yes, like make it a whole thing. Well, if that's the case, if you want to bring bands, then there's only one school that you need to be inviting, and that's the amazing South Carolina State University with the
Macho
Yeah.
Marching
101.
101, baby. Like there is no band in the land that can see us, and I mean that. All right. But with that being said, I know you all mentioned Baylor versus who Baylor played again?
UCLA.
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 What about the other game with Maryland?
Now we gotta tap into Baylor and UCLA because I want to give a shout out to Lauren Betts. This is what we were talking about last
Week
spaces or show,
basis
I guess.
last week. Yeah.
And this is what I want to see. I want to see her perform on the biggest of stage and do what she need to do. And she was dominant. Like I think she had like 9 blocks. Um,
What was
I,
your position last week? You said there was a runaway, right? But with the upcoming games, bets
Dolores
could.
ain't here. Let him up.
Okay, hold
yes,
on.
that was my position. That at the moment it was a runaway, but she had the opportunity to close the gap, if not take over with her stretch coming up. And I think she had a great start. Like shit, Lauren was, I mean, and we know she is and can be, but she was very dominant from the beginning of the game to the end of the game on both sides of the ball. She had like 9 blocks every time she touched the ball. She made the right pass. If they double teamed, if they didn't, she went to work. She had Vonleh in hell. I wish Vonleh didn't go to Baylor, but that was her choice. So gotta let the children learn from their choices. But Lauren was amazing, and
So
that's no shock at all.
going forward, because let me see, when you look at Notre Dame against top competition, she really has already kind of gotten everybody out of the way. So she will then face, for rank purposes,
I think Duke.
North Carolina State, Duke, and Cal. But Lauren,
She has some
Hannah,
big ones coming up.
that's who Hannah will face. Lauren still has to face Juju and Jelani and Cody and Maryland again and Kiyomi at Rutgers and Juju again and
No,
Michigan State.
Keone.
So, so I think someone mentioned that because of recency bias and a lot of Hannah's great games were already at the start of the season, whereas UCLA will have theirs more in the back end. Do you think that that will be, I guess, a deciding factor? Because we know what recency bias look like in the W, when they kind of judge the end of the season sometimes. Well, how do you feel that will be taken into account when it comes to voting for those awards?
I'm not sure that recency bias will affect Hannah because I do think that the machine is kind of already in the works for Hannah anyway. So regardless of, like if it's a not so great opponent, they're still going to highlight what she does, So it's not like people are going to forget the work that Hannah's doing in the ACC because also East Coast as well. So people are up and watching during the East Coast, whereas during the West Coast it's kind of hard to stay up and watch some of those games unless they're like worth it. But I do think that there are enough games left for Lauren to state her case and make it a battle.
Okay. Flores, Lo.
I don't remember the question. I zoned out.
Basically, do you still think it is Hannah's award? What were your positions last week for the Player of the Year?
Oh, I didn't. That was Yana and Dolores going back home. I didn't really have a strong opinion. My only opinion was that they need to say Lauren's name more when we're discussing
They
it.
do.
Yeah, they just act
Okay.
like she's not even a factor. Like I saw something today, and I don't even think Lauren was on it, and that just doesn't make sense to me. But I didn't have a strong opinion either way. Just the fact that Lauren's name needed to be more in the conversation.
I
Okay.
don't even think ESPN, the last article I saw from ESPN writers, they didn't really have her in the conversation. They had her as like an All-American, but not in the conversation of National Player of the Year. And that I can't agree with.
Because I
Like,
do not think they would have won that game without her. I
no,
think they are very beatable without Lauren. Like, period.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Cause you have to game plan different when she's on the court, right? Like you can't just like when she touched the ball, all eyes go to her. You can't defend her one on one. If you do, it's automatic buckets. So you have to make a decision about do you want to help, do you not want to help, and then when you help, she has a great IQ, so she makes the right pass. And if UCLA guards are knocking down the outside shot, then you're beat there. Defensively, you have to game plan for her because you can't just take it to the paint because she gonna block it or affect your shot somehow, some way. So, similar to I think honestly between her and Hannah, those are to me the two players that you have to game plan for both sides of the ball. Like you actually do have to put in a game plan that works around them. Like you don't want to put the ball in the person's hand that Hannah's going to be guarding, but you also don't want to be driving to the paint at Lauren. Like both of them affect both sides of the ball so well.
All right. And then the other game in the Coretta Scott King Classic was Texas versus Maryland. Texas had their way with Maryland. However, it is important to note that Maryland, for the rest of the season, was this the first game without Bree? So
Yep.
the first,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wait.
and they
Yeah.
will be
Mm-hmm.
without the services of Bree McDaniel for the rest of the season. due to a leg injury. And in that game, also, I think Cheyenne went down as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what does Maryland look like going forward for you all in the Big Ten? Because I know that so far through in the season, we had mentioned that they could potentially, sneak up on the likes of the USC's or UCLA's. But with that key injury to her, and many feel that she's the dog of the team, how does that fare for them going forward? And what did we like that we saw from Texas, if anything?
I think it changes them drastically. And I might be dragging it, but
You're not.
that grit, her ability to defend, to me, just having her be able to sit in Madison's lap would have made a world of difference. You know what I mean? Like her energy, and I know everybody be so focused on starting, but her energy off that bench, just knowing that you got somebody like that's on 10, like gonna do whatever they gotta do when they get stagnant, Bria get to the rack. Just stuff like that. To me, that, especially, we are like, all of us are kind of big on impact, not always just numbers. That makes a huge goddamn difference. And I don't know if they have anybody who can do that. And then I feel like their other guards get a little shot happy and start just throwing that bitch up there. So I feel like she was kind of the calm to help balance that out. You know what I mean? But without her, they're still a good team. Let me not, they're still a good team, but they lose just a lot of edge, just a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know if they have anybody that can step in and not be her, but just be able to do that. I think it's a huge loss.
B, what are you eating?
Them
Are you
damn
eating?
I,
them
I was
peanuts is fucking him up.
I was trying to sneak it open and like hold it away from the
You were not
my
sneaking at all.
I got me a bomb pop. Sorry.
Got that damn. It's like when them kids in the middle of the night and your parents wake up. What the hell you doing in the kitchen?
My bad. My bad. Okay. And
I
so
agree with Lo. They missing their edge. Like she was their edge, their dog. And I don't think they have anybody on the roster that can fill that role.
who do you think will need to stand up? Or step up? Excuse me.
Brenda.
Okay.
Sorry, my God.
Um, I was thoroughly disappointed in just the overall lack of preparation or game planning, for that matchup. Because in my opinion, Notre Dame is in a similar position in terms of how they game plan for Texas. And although Notre Dame, I think, had at that time not King, the freshman, that was like their only big because everybody else was littles, right? They were still able to hang with Texas the whole game. Like, regardless of the amount of bigs that Texas had, they were able to hang with them from the defensive end. But in my opinion, offensively, they just got there and did any fucking thing. Like, there was no type of like strategy for how to beat Texas because Texas did not have to adjust to them. Like, if I'm losing a player, like, you gonna see a whole new look. You gonna see something a little bit different that forces you to adjust your game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see that. Like, I was hoping that Cheyenne would take on a bigger role, and she faded into obscurity. Um, Cubic in big matchups is just she becomes a Mountain West player. Um, Dulcie looked horrendous. Um, the point guard is too short. Like it just everything that we liked about them, I hated about them in this game. The shots were terrible, like Lo said. Everybody gets shot happy, but then if I'm not the one taking the shots, then I don't want to defend. I thought Cheyenne was absolutely horrendous the whole game, until she got hurt. Like, it was just bad. Like, I honestly did not enjoy watching them until she put in the bench. And I'm like, I know Reba has been talking about this on her page, but like, it's malpractice to have those players, especially if they're not injured, and not use them so that you can have them ready for a game like this.
Their defense was bad too.
It
Like,
was
if
so
you're not
bad.
gonna score, at least defend. And I
I
don't
mean,
think they
Texas
did.
was not uncomfortable at all. Maddie got to her spot the whole game.
But yeah, which would have definitely been Bree's matchup. But you had time enough to prepare because when that Bree wasn't there, y'all knew
Right.
what we
Or
had.
like if you gonna do zone, do a matchup zone. Like, but to just let Maddie get to that short corner jumper, the whole fucking game is insane. Because Holly didn't really do any. I don't even think Holly scored more than 5 points.
Y'all,
Warden scored 2 points until the third quarter. It was the Bigs and Booker,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
and
because
then the bench.
uh one of Texas's players can be 1 for 7 and score 2 points and still be known as one of the best point guards in the
Oh,
world. But anybody else be getting talked about they not being able to shoot. But
well,
Oops. Talk about it. What did it say? Wait, what did the young kids say? Clock it.
but also I just have to bring this up. So is this a fluke game for Maryland? I just want to make sure I'm right.
Well, according to some, it might be. That's
Okay,
how we,
I just want to make
you
sure.
know.
Like, is this a good win for Texas or Maryland just didn't show up? I just need to know for research purposes moving forward.
these girls are outside playing in the snow.
As they should. I'm about to join them.
I'm tired of the snow. I need the snow to go.
Please, Yana, please don't take away my fun.
I was trying to drive down for the game on
You
Thursday,
can still drive
but
down. Just go
if
45.
them roads is icy, I'm not driving nowhere. I'm keeping my ass in Atlanta. Have
Just
you
drive
seen the
45.
people
You'll make it.
sliding up and down the hill in their cars in Atlanta? I am not playing with these roads.
You need to get a little snow tire
Take the
invest.
train. Take the train to Columbia. You get there if you get on the train tonight.
The megabus. She can do the megabus.
I haven't been on a mega bus in years, and I have no plans on going back on it.
Yana
Did they
said
go?
absolutely not.
Didn't they go out of business? One of them did. Okay, let me stay focused. But anyways,
Yes.
I'll see you on Thursday.
So so that was the Coretta Scott Classic.
Also, Coretta and whomever is responsible. Um, if there are no black head coaches or black teams specifically, I don't want to see it. I I don't want to see it. So this is not a knock on her, but moving forward, we at least need an all HBCU matchup in the classic, and don't invite Baylor ever again.
So if you could pick, give me two power teams or contending teams, whether it be black
South Carolina
teams
versus
or
Notre
black
Dame.
coaches. Okay,
South Carolina versus
that's what
Notre
I
Dame.
was thinking. And then okay, give me your two HBCUs.
Then I wouldn't do some teams with a little space. Um, the easy answer a few years ago would have been like Jackson State versus um Norfolk State, but I've heard good things about A&M. So Alabama A&M versus
Mm-hmm.
Cotton.
Okay, okay, okay.
And then if I had to do like a follow up for P5, I would do um Kenny, Ole Miss. Kentucky
But
versus.
see, his ass to get out there and act like Marcus Freeman, so he
He
can't
would,
come.
he would, he would, he
No, he
would.
can't come. He got to
So
stay.
then, if I had to back it up, um, Syracuse versus Ole Miss.
Okay.
That would be
Who?
a messy matchup too.
Syracuse get ate up.
I know, but the coach, I think
Oh
they would
yeah.
play. I think that they would play with a little edge,
I can see that. Okay. All right.
or
Um,
like a Auburn versus Syracuse type shit, just so that's a little bit more even. But
A&M versus Georgia.
oh, no, because the head coach at Georgia is white and she looks Trumpy.
Okay. So what are some of the other top games for y'all this past week?
Um, I watched the ass of games. Ohio State getting beat by Penn State was not a surprise. Um, to me, it's just unfortunate. I will say Jelani did not play in that game, which I think greatly impacted them. But they got a lot to work on. It's too much talent to keep doing this shit every year. Um, so that was one that was on my radar
The
as well.
volunteer state battle between Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
Oh, I was like, that was an emotional wreck. Like, I, yeah, I, Tennessee coming back is kind of their thing. But not closing out games is also their thing. So, yeah.
Okay. Georgia Tech took a mean little slip last week.
Yeah, they have.
But they
Not
were
so.
able to right their wrong. They got back on the winning track. They started the season 15-0, and then they took a 3-game losing streak to Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Notre Dame. They were able to
Mm-hmm.
beat a Clemson team that has been giving some people fits. And so next up they go to Virginia, and then they have Duke at home. So who else? Anybody out in the Big Ten that you all have seen that elsewhere outside of maybe UCLA and USC's? Do you like what Washington has done?
I like that one girl, but
Sila.
Shout
is
out
that her name?
to
No, he's talking about Sellers.
Yeah,
I
that's what
think,
I'm talking about.
yeah, Siler is Michigan.
Yeah.
I like
No, not. I'm sorry. What's her the little guard? Oh, I was
His
just
last
there.
name is Sellers. I could not
Yes,
tell you
her,
her.
her.
I was just there. I forgot her name, but yeah. Okay. So Washington, they're a pretty interesting team. They've had some games where they lost by one, but then I think they opened the season with a loss to Montana. And they lost 82-68, but then, they've beaten Northwestern, Illinois, Wisconsin. They lost to Michigan and Michigan State. They whooped Purdue. So next up, they're going to have to get a few of those wins if they want to increase their chances of making the tournament. They have Iowa, Indiana, Ohio State, and Penn State. So it'll be pretty interesting to see from them. Sabia, sorry, yes, that's what I'm thinking. Sabia is her name, Sabia Sellers.
There we
Who
go.
are some other surprises that you all
Oh,
have
wait.
anticipated?
Can I just say shout out to Southern Cal for their win in Indiana. That is one of those like team building wins that you carry throughout the season because they went into the widest of places and that game was a battle. Like it looked like a Mizzou type style environment. And we all know what Mizzou environment is like. And they stuck together and it was tight the entire game. They were down and they kept fighting back and they won. That's one of that's literally one of those games that you carry with yourself throughout March Madness, your conference tournament. Like that was a good win for them. So shout out to them.
Love what you say.
Okay.
Love what you say.
Clan rounds. That it looked like the inauguration. When they went up to the crowd, I was like, oh my God.
We always love honoring and showing love to all the people doing their amazing accomplishments. So a pair of Las Vegas Aces, at least for right now, had their jerseys retired this past weekend. Liz Kitley at Virginia Tech and Kelsey Plum at University of Washington. And so, congrats to them. That's always a good thing when you can get your jersey hanging in the rafters of an institution that you helped put on the map. And for KP, I'm not sure about Liz if anyone has theirs retired before, or a woman has had theirs retired. But I know for KP, she is the first woman in Washington history. We all know that she led them to national prominence, and before she went on to break the scoring record and leading them to the Final Four, which was a fun team. Fun team that had Chantel Osaher, Ari McDonald, So like some pretty fun memories there for KP back in Washington, and congrats to Liz Kitley as well. And when we're talking about accomplishments, hold on, let me play this right quick. Uh, with my phone, I gotta play this in honor of the next individual because there are some things.
DJ.
You still there?
The DJ is out.
I'm weak.
Now what the
I
hell?
said there's some things blank. I
And I
just
don't
know
even
he.
know. I don't even
I
know where
just
he
know he
was going
pushed the
with it.
button. I know he pushed the button. I know he pushed the button. He in the house screaming, Alexa, Alexa.
Well
Low
then.
sing us, low sing us a harmonic selection.
What was I just singing? How it go? Tell me you ain't never felt like this.
Oh, period. Oh, Jasmine Sullivan. Ooh,
Yes.
we, um, even though we ain't official,
Ain't
that's the one.
official, you know,
Ain't
ain't
no
no
regular.
regular
Period.
girl. But tell me whenever I'm with ya, got the best
Crossover.
in the world. The best.
Amen. Amen.
Period.
Well, at least
Um,
the
Mm-hmm.
space is still running.
somebody send, somebody do a wellness check on B.
Maybe somebody broke in his house and kidnapped him.
Look, don't say that.
What if we just heard Bruce
Wait,
scream?
hello.
Oh,
Brandon, what
oops.
the hell?
So did y'all not hear any of that?
No,
No,
nigga.
No,
Did y'all not even hear my speech?
No.
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 Oh my god, I was spitting too. Oh my god.
I knew you pushed the button. I knew you pushed the button.
Oh
Oh,
man. Hold on, I gotta do it again. So okay,
Oh, brother.
first of
since we're
all,
talking about accomplishments and people really getting it out the mud and getting what they're due, no one has quite got it out the mud like this particular dream merchant, and she has gotten everything and not even enough of what she deserves. So I gotta play this song right quick.
Oh my God. Here we go. We only got one device. Period.
oh Lord,
I like this.
had a dream I could buy my way to heaven.
And to the
When I
tune of
woke, I stood on the
$25
pavement.
million for
I'll
the
be back
next
in a
5
second.
years. One, Don Michelle Staley, three-time national championship winning head coach at Little Old University of South Carolina, has become the one, the only highest paid women's basketball coach in the history of the game. More than even some of these dudes at these Power 5 teams getting, because you know what? She knows how to win. So, all right now, that's probably why I got cut off. 'Cause I was
B,
trying to
you
play.
ate.
But
Yeah, I cannot lie. You ate.
And you have my
so,
boy in the
with that being
background.
said, clock it, clock it. With that being said, for those of us who are natives of South Carolina and really seeing when I say get out of the mud, I wasn't exaggerating.
You
Dawn
really
really
did
has
get it
Yeah,
been
out
she
the
really
mud. Yeah.
did.
because this program, we were able to go to the games where they were selling giving away these tickets at the Piggly Wiggly, giving away tickets with your greenback stamps. You could sit in the middle of the stadium and have a conversation in the middle of gameplay. You could be sitting from one baseline to the next and have a full conversation. To now we are selling out 18,000 strong.
It's crazy.
What, six Final Fours later, three national championships later, a plethora of number one draft picks and rookies of the years and WNBA champions and Olympic gold medalists and Olympians and all these people with marketing and brand deals with the likes of Adidas, Under Armour, and Nike. Like the woman produces winners on all levels. So shouts out to you, Dawn Michelle Staley. We appreciate you. You deserve it. And never, I'm not gonna go there. So how does that feel for you all? Like, what is it about Dawn, that has made her so special to South Carolina, and then just the sport itself?
That shit crazy. I don't think it's really hard to even like it's shit. It's hard to put into words because, like you said, when you've seen it when you've seen it, like I mean, going to games at halftime can go still sit there, can yell across the thing, and everybody can hear you. To now, it's almost like damn, like is this even the same place? Like the top recruits in the country are signing to come to Columbia, South Carolina. It's just it's weird. It's not weird, but it is because like what if you would have told 15-year-old Lauren 8 minutes down from University of South Carolina at Dreher High School that loved basketball that this would be a hotbed and people from all over the country, number one recruits would be coming here, I would have looked at you and laughed in your face. Dead ass. I'd have been like, stop playing with me. Or I would have been like, you watch women's basketball? But now, it's crazy. Like I have aunts who barely came to my games. Hell, you know what I mean? But they are so into it now. Like they get anxious. They cannot watch. They will go sit in the living room, have my uncle in the room watching the game, and yell out what's happening. And they'll yell back and ask questions because they want to win so bad, and they're so anxious. Like Don has literally built this shit throughout the community. Like you could tell the stark difference. Like when you see the men games, that's donors, that's white people, that's Carolina students. You look at a women's game, that is the community. That is Columbia, South Carolina. And she did that shit. And women's basketball. You know what I mean? It's just I don't even like it's I don't even know, child.
It's
It's crazy.
the two things. It brings me back to this would have had to been COVID year. South Carolina plays UConn at South Carolina, and after the game, Dawn, she typically doesn't, in my opinion, like get rowdy or make statements, but I think she said like, we're here. Like she made some statement after the game, and it was kind of like,
Was that before the culture was born?
I think that it might have been around that time. It was the 19-2 quarter. It was that game. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was the one of the first games where we like beat UConn, and like it felt like a real win.
Turning of the
And I
page.
think that was like the start of this new change in the program. Because for me, like I think about even my like when I got to Carolina, like the entire Dawn was so big on building the program that she let the athletes like be students. Like they were at all the student events. They were on Green Street. They had tables on Green Street. They were in, um, the common eating areas. Like you could just interact and mingle with them because you could tell that Don was being very intentional about the foundation. And I think being able to like in real time see the culmination of all of that, and to Lowe's point, see the community inside of it is so beautiful. Like the lady that I work for her niece is Unique Drake, who played at St. John's, but her family is Clemson fans. She when I get to the studio, how's my girl Ashlyn doing? Like the way that people are connecting to the players, because that's another thing. Like these are South Carolina players too. And for this to be such a small state, and for top players in this state to come and stay, there's an even deeper connection. I think that's a reason why this current team is so endeared to the community, is because people
Mm-hmm.
watched Ashlyn and watched Malaysia and watched Joyce as kids develop in this state. And for them
Y'all,
to be
can
from
I
right
I'm
here,
sorry to
no,
cut
no,
you
go ahead,
off.
go ahead.
Literally this is how ingrained like woven this shit is. Like when I was in school at South Carolina, I had a job at Columbiana Mall at Finish Line. I was in at work one day. I see a lady and another lady, I think, walking in. I say, hey, how you doing? Whatever, can I help you? They walk up. I realize other lady isn't a lady. Other lady is, I guess, a kid. But the other lady has on a long denim skirt, looks very mean, looks very mean. And I'm like, hey, what do y'all need? I look over, I say whatever, whatever, and I'm looking at the woman because I'm like, you old enough to answer me. No, then I look at that mom. She's like, well, can I have Air Force One, something, something, something? Go on in conversation. This is my daughter. She's in 5th grade. She's huge. She's big as fuck. Guess who that little girl
Not the
was?
girl was Ashlyn.
Ashlyn Watkins, baby. So this shit,
Oh
it's
my
just like
God.
she was used to being in paper dunking in 5th grade, and then she walked. I didn't. Of course, I didn't. The picture in the paper, I didn't know. Girl walks up, look at me. Y'all know how Ashley looks, y'all. and I'm like, why is she looking like that? Like, but I realized it's a little girl. She's just huge. Come in to get shoes. So this when we say like this shit is crazy. But go ahead. Doris had that.
Yeah, no, I like that, and that story is commonplace. Like, I have parents at the studio. I just loved, like, they're picking players. These are women, like women whose husbands are sports fans in their own right, but they are connecting to Dawn and her
Mm-hmm.
team for their own interest. Like, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
my man got me up in here watching basketball, so I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, like, bitch, you go in the living room and do what you do, watch football, and I'm gonna stay in the room and watch South Carolina play. And so that to me speaks to why this contract is so important and why it's so big and so monumental. It's because Don always has the bigger picture in mind. Like, people don't know how much she went through. And that's why when B said got it out the mud, like, people don't know that, like, P5 coaches and P5 referees were telling recruits, don't go there. You will never be successful there. Don can't get you where you want her to be. And they were using their resources and their connections where they were to ensure that when Don got to South Carolina, she would have a very hard time being successful. Like,
Yeah.
coaches
Crazy.
that y'all get on this app and be like, oh, I am. Like, and if Dawn was a messy bitch or if she was like, I am, she would have lit it on fire. But no, she put her head down. And so when you see her break down and cry like she did in the next championship game, like, these girls mean a lot to her. Like, it's not some, I'm going to use you for my success and give you a platform. It's y'all are my kids while I'm here. And that's how she coaches them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they mean the world to her. And so when she's crying, it's because she sees the tears. She saw how they experienced 2023 losing like they did in the environment that they did. And it matters. Like, all that matters. And so I say all that to say that, like, I'm so happy for Don. I'm very much an eat the rich type of bitch. But when you come from what Don has come from, and when you do it the way Don has done it, she's not a lady that is, getting rich to just be rich. Like, it's a very much like, I'm giving. I'm growing. I'm reaching across. And so you'll see, like, her, what does she do? Invest in Unrivaled. And y'all be like, oh, Dolores and them don't like Unrivaled. But clearly, Dawn does because she sees bigger than maybe the stuff that we can see. Or she has her own vision and she's always giving back, always doing for us. So
And
love that for her. Just go ahead.
she's authentically her. Like
Yes.
she didn't change up to fit the status quo or really she really fell more into herself to be honest because she do not wear them heels
Yes.
and that shit no more. She got them goddamn twists and she put on them goddamn sweatpants and she come out with that equals jacket and cigarettes in that bitch.
She
Um
really do.
With all
she
100 of them
right
bracelets on.
right she's just really she's done it in a very authentic way like so yeah she deserves it like.
And I have to point to the fact that 10 years ago, Asia committed to South Carolina. 10 years later, Joyce commits to South Carolina. Two all state, all Hall of Fame players choosing to stay and play for a lady whose roots are built in South Carolina. That matters so much. Like, so much. So, I'm a firm believer. I said this years ago when Dawn won her first title. Don will be a legend and an all-time great coach because of more than what takes place on the court. Like, the titles that she's accumulating, they add to her, but the way that she was able to get it done, where she got it done, is unheard of. Like, especially with the resources, unheard of. So nothing but love for my girl. Shit, get her the 30 mil contract. Shit, make it easy.
And I know Yana, I mean, I mentioned something. Yana was like, "Darn, you just don't want to be happy for now," or something like that. It was the
You
time for
bastard! You better
Yeah.
not bring it up. You better not bring it up.
we have
Let it
to.
go. Let it go.
Let it
Let it
go.
go. Enjoy the
Okay,
moment, B. Enjoy the moment.
okay. We're gonna enjoy these next
You
5
sound like them
years.
B fans that want a new project, bitch. Y'all
I'm
ain't even
saying.
enjoyed Cowboy Carter yet.
Okay,
Y'all,
we're gonna
speaking of
enjoy these next
Dawn,
5 years.
she on their live because they sledding down the hill.
Oh,
Now they flying down the hill.
Yeah, she on
We
there.
got a soft
Child,
cushion at the
just be in a
bottom.
bubble, honey.
I don't know,
Put a
child.
little mattress at the bottom or something. Just don't get hurt. Have fun.
put them in the bubble,
So I
please.
need to. I might need to head on campus.
I
It better
think
not be. It better not be the South Tower Hill because that's dangerous as shit.
No, I can't tell. I'm trying to see where they at.
I'm
I
weak.
think
I
like the
can't
Oh, they
tell.
dopest
could be doing
thing.
the one from Darla
I
because
can't.
that's over there right by where they
Yeah, I
stay.
can't really see.
What were you saying, Yana?
I think the dopest thing about watching like where South Carolina was to where it is now is just what I think is special is what Lo and Dolores has already mentioned before is just if you were with it from the beginning, when Dom first started, it was rough. But I mean, like, it was like, I remember watching the games cause I didn't stay to school in South Carolina. So I ended up watching a lot of the games on TV and, when ain't no big crowd, they like zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so can't nobody see the crowd, just like you just get to see the court. Um, and it sounded, like quiet in there, like you could hear the people next to the mic type vibe, but,
You can hear the
um,
play calling.
you can hear it all. And then even when it came down to like recruits, like I remember following like the recruiting scene and stuff, and it was just like never really thought anybody was coming to South. It was like, I'm just happy to get a player, right? Just happy to get somebody. And then like during that time, Dawn was always the coach that didn't matter who she had on her team, she was going to take them to go play the toughest competition. And so as a fan, in your head, you like, gotta believe. But damn, that shit sucked. You get your ass beat like every other game or something like that. So to now see it all like work out to where she's getting the recruits that she wants. The arena is like 18,000 strong, constantly loud, engaged, and they love those girls to death and her too. And then now you whooping everybody ass. Like it's dope to see her vision come to fruition, and she just stayed the course the entire time.
And
Stayed the course the entire time. Even with the naysayers, people constantly, downplaying her coaching, just calling her a player's coach and saying, she's not a great offensive coach, saying, she can't do this or she can't do that. And she just kept her head down and kept doing what she needed to do. And now she's just breaking doors down. Like, it's been special to see. It's really been special.
And
And
it's really
go ahead, B.
interesting because you talked about, being able to get one or two recruits here and there. I remember, like, yes, we got Tiff. Tiff kind of was like one of the ones that was like the first like star, could have gone anywhere. Tiff came, and then boom, Asia and Elena came, and then we were able to get like the transfers like Alicia and Kayla. But the recruiting, even after winning the Natty, the recruiting didn't like, this is still very recent. Like,
Oh
even
Yes.
in the
yeah,
past 5 years,
very.
like after the freshies, like even having Tiff and Asia and Elena and them, like she still had to really develop the players, because not saying they were scrubs or anything, by far they were still top players or top 100 type players. But it really wasn't until that freshies class came in that everybody was considered quote unquote elite. All five of them, or however many of them, were McDonald's All Americans. Now everybody typically in the class, they're All Americans, Player of the Years, and things like that. So within the 5, 6, 7 years, like Dawn has really, taken what she started and then built into the Asia era, or the Tip in Asia era, and then like catapulted into now like everybody. is
And that's why I don't
considered.
feel no type of way when people be like, y'all got this many All-American. Bitch, if only you knew where this program came from, I'll take all of them. I don't give a damn. If we greedy, we greedy. I don't give a fuck because we've been starving for years. So hell, keep
Because
feasting. Send them
after,
all.
We
we've
we
gone through
won a
one.
national championship with a Marine on the team, somebody that work in the NCAA offices, and an unemployed lady. I just like, please don't piss me off.
And
The
somebody
point
that needs to get
okay,
STAT.
put down. But the point I wanted to bring up was the fact that like I know so many people on the app like to make jokes like Dawn is bigger than her players. She got more emotion than her players. And we can address that on two fronts, but the point I want to hit is that when you are that good to people, when you are for the community, when you are someone so loving and endearing, that's where it looks like that they're bigger than their players. When in reality, that lady does nothing but give them opportunities. I can remember Tiffany Mitchell wearing Don's red bottoms to the motherfucking draft. But y'all don't know that because y'all ain't been around. So like just like even listening to her talk about, how she helps the players find their agents and giving them access to resources that she has, like just so just truly, truly, truly just God's gift to the game. Like uh whenever the point B was trying to bring up, whenever that does happen, the way y'all had a funeral for TikTok is the way I'm gonna carry my ass. Okay, so that's all I say on that.
Y'all, and
Listen, that
shit.
game, they might
The
need to move that game
opportunities,
to the stadium.
but y'all think about the opportunities she even gave us. That lady paid for some of us to go to Paris because,
And
and
people left because of
and
it. But
not,
yes, we
and
thank
and
God.
and one, so we can have the experience, and two, so that people at home can see the experience through the eyes of real niggas. Just for
Ooh,
that.
clock it.
Just for that. Like, she didn't have to do that.
At all.
Amen.
Who does shit like that?
In the name of margarita pizza,
Oh,
bro.
please.
And I mean, like small stories. Oh, she know who gets the environment going. I said, Coach, we need to get these fans together in Minnesota. Don said, don't worry about it. Where did me and Lo sit? Right behind the team. And what did we do? Activate the walls. Like that is that lady. So I ain't want to, be on my soapbox, but you can never tell me nothing about Don Michelle, and that's why we crash out the way we do over Don Michelle. Cause bitches could never. That's my homegirl in real life. So y'all can do what y'all do on the app behind whoever y'all want to do what y'all want to do on the app. But in real life, that's my girl. So,
What's the weather? What's the
um,
weather typically in February in South Carolina? Come
and
on,
what?
late February. What's typically the
B.
weather?
Cold.
It's winter. It's all
Still
typically like
cold.
in the last 10 years, it's
Yeah, it's
winter.
cold,
Like
cold.
Oh,
this is when our winter happens in
so that
February.
game can't be in Williams Bryce then.
What game?
Her last home game.
This year? Or are you talking about a
I'm
player?
talking about in 5 years. Her last home game. Put it in Williams
B,
Oh,
Bryce.
when she
shut the hell up,
retires.
bitch.
We gotta face reality, y'all. But
She didn't say she was done in 5 years, so.
but no, seriously, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Coach Staley. She definitely deserves it. And before we wrap up the college part of this, we want to get into some big games this week, and
My God.
it's going to be quite a challenge, quite a battle. We have, I threw this one on there, but I don't know if y'all going to call this a big game or not. Michigan versus Minnesota. The Big Ten, those are probably two unexpected names that are, in right in the middle of the pack. They're in the top 25. This is Minnesota's first time in the top 25, I think since 2019 perhaps or so. So how do you see that game going before we get into another heavyweight battle in the Big Ten?
Where's it at?
At Minnesota, at the barn.
Mm. I think Michigan will win. I think Michigan. their freshmen are really good. And because they've been battle tested early on, like really battle tested, I think they'll get the job done. But I think it'll be a good game though.
Okay.
Yeah, Minnesota gonna have to show me something in order for me to respect them. I know they play some teams tough, but um, yeah, I would have to go with Michigan. And yet they are young, but Hobbs is really an X factor for them, and she's one of the most experienced players on the team, and I really like her. So I'll give it to Michigan.
So I have a question. I'm curious. Is we know, and I'm not sure if her name has really come up in like national conversations when we're talking about coaching, but Dawn, I think it's Plitzowitz. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She, we see a lot of people go to different programs and then they're just okay. We see a lot of mid-major coaches move up and don't really find that success at the higher levels. And so we know that while she was at South Dakota, she always had them in a contending position of being like one of the top mid majors, and even so far as advancing to the Sweet 16 back in 2022. They were a tough team. South Carolina has even played them. Very tough team. And then she moved on to West Virginia. Boom, first year there, got them into the tournament, although West Virginia still had, some talent left over. I think his name was Jim Carey when he was there. And so now going to Minnesota and being able to kind of really had them in a position to make in a tournament as well, one of the first tournaments in a long time. So should there be a little bit more respect on her name? Do you think she's a good recruiter, a good coach, or like a combination of all the things? Because she's been able to find success at everywhere she's been.
I mean, I think she's solid.
You're not putting
Doing.
her up there with Brenda in the Big Ten.
No.
Okay.
I think I will say I think it says a lot about a coach when you can win anywhere, especially a mid-major coach being able to make that jump, because we've seen cases, Kelly, where you can be successful at the mid-major level, but when you get to
But
the
in
P5
her
team,
defense, though, is jumping from mid-major to the SEC different than jumping from mid-major to, I don't know, you said West Virginia first. Don't you that's not a little different?
I, but I think knowing what you're ready for
Right. Okay. True.
is
Okay.
important. Like is a part of that.
Yeah.
Like knowing, okay, if I'm making that jump, I'm gonna go to West Virginia where it's not like it's a
Okay.
solid program. There's winning happening, but I don't have to win immediately. And then even going to Minnesota, like I think people could call them safe moves, but finding a way to still win, because yes, they're safe, but also I got to get recruits. I gotta, still win and be successful too. And I think on the flip side of that, Kelly had all the access to any resource that she wanted and needed. Like the recruiting was kind of doing itself. Like the name is going to draw certain recruits. Now, could she close them is another story and another situation. But I think some people could say it's harder. Some people could say it's easier. I just err on the side of when it's not a program that is big, it's a little bit harder, especially like who the fuck wants to play in Minnesota? Or who the fuck wants to play in West Virginia? So that is, I think she's up there. Maybe not in the elite company, but I think she's a top
Solid. Yeah.
25 coach. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next in the Big Ten, we have Maryland at Ohio State.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
I think that could be a good one.
Yeah.
Punch in the mouth on Monday, and I think it'll, make them come out a little bit stronger. And hopefully, if Brenda comes with a better game plan, then it could be a really good game. I think
Yeah, because I don't think Maryland is bad
they're
at all.
not
I
that
still think
bad.
they have some really, yeah, they still really have some really good pieces. She just gotta make it something shape. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I've always revered Brenda as one of really, really good coaches, but here lately I've been a little question marky.
My as much as Ohio State's one of the teams I like. I think matchup for matchup. Ohio State should win all of them if Jelani's there. If Jelani's playing, I think Ohio State is the better team right now, even with their loss to Penn State, because I think losing Bree and losing the way they did, like certain games you can just throw out the water and be like, oh, it was just a bad game. That's not what that was. That was shitty on all parties. The players looked lifeless. The coaching was not there. They did not look motivated. They looked like they missed Bree. So who on the team is gonna do the player meeting and say, we gotta show the fuck up?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who is that vocal, suss the team out person? I don't think they have that.
Okay. Moving on in the elsewhere, we have it. This may not be a big game um, in regards to teams, but for star power, and it's not quite USC, but UCLA at Rutgers.
Man,
Kiyomi
get
has
out
her
my face.
opportunity.
Get out my face.
Kiyomi will
UCLA
have her
by
opportunity.
60.
Like, stop playing with me, please.
Kiyomi will have her opportunity to go up against the likes of
Brandon.
Kiki, Lauren,
Brandon.
Janaya.
Next.
Y'all said UCLA by 60?
Next.
Okay. All right, next up we have Tennessee at Texas.
Ooh,
That's gonna be a good one. I'm a
Brandon.
little annoyed that that game comes on like an hour into the South Carolina LSU game because I really want to like watch both of them and give it like
Sit
full
down and watch.
attention. But
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a really good game.
Okay.
And
What
To
who
me,
has
their
to
coach might not be there.
that game can either be a blowout or a 2-pointer.
Oh, she due?
I mean, she posted a video today on Twitter, I think, where she was in the hospital saying
I
she was
thought that
ready
was a
for the
little
baby to
fake.
come.
I thought that
Oh,
was a
that was
fake
fake?
page. No, that
Oh.
I think that page is an impersonation page now. I don't know if they got that picture for real. I don't know. But I don't know.
Cause I definitely was like, oh, bitch,
But
she's.
the assistant did do media, and because they asked her who would be coaching, and then the lady said it'll be a group effort.
Mm. So it sounds like yeah,
That
she
is crazy.
okay. And so who has to step up for each team? We know the stars.
Jillian and Z Spearman better figure it out.
Tennessee got a rebound. They have to
Oh,
rebound.
yeah, because Jillian and Z sometimes they do. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't
And
know.
then,
If they don't box out, the game is over.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
That girl coming in the game getting 5 rebounds in a minute.
yeah.
And
I just don't know.
they definitely have to take smart shots, which has been,
Which I don't think have to, because that's
yeah,
not their
cause
game.
Texas will definitely capitalize off of turnovers.
They don't need to do that funky ass press.
If they press Texas, it's gonna be a 30-point loss.
They just need to go set up in the zone and try to defend and
Make
trap
it a
them
half
girls.
court game.
Because Madison like the middies. If you sit in the zone, that'll help. Rory, she's not really a shooter. Jump. Then you got more help on the big ass girl. I don't know, but I don't think the press.
And to me, Tennessee's superpower is no, they're not the tallest team or like biggest body size
They
wise, but
long
they are
as
long
fuck.
as
Yeah,
fuck.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guard in half court, do a matchup zone, I don't care what type of zone, just do a zone. And you get them arms up the whole time. Texas will have a hard ass
Their
time.
arms long
Like,
as.
make every entry pass hard as fuck,
Hmm.
deny, and rebound. Like, and if anything, and is the game at Texas?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, they gonna have to like do something new. And I understand that this might not be, but these are college athletes. Put that shit in and get to work.
Okay. And the other big game that this week, LSU at South Carolina. We know that College Game Day will be there. What's needed from both sides?
Can I say this first
Okay,
before
you
we
can
do
go
the X's
ahead.
and O's?
Because I had something to say
Um,
too.
eh, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but we just gave Dawn her flowers for a very important reason. It's taken a long ass time to get to where we are as a program. If you just joined fandom in the last 4 to 5 years, stop. I want you to stop. Dawn is not a cocky bitch. She is not somebody that's going like overlook an opponent. She's not a Twitter shit talker in that sense. That's not who she is. And so when y'all get on this app and like comment under every single thing that these hoops pages post and like drag people unnecessarily for no reason, it's annoying. Like it's annoying because it's just that's not the team. That's not us. That's not the fans. Like people can say what they want about the fan base, all of that, but some of y'all ain't never been to a game, and it shows. Like it shows. Like when y'all do the well, this person should have played. Baby, that's not how Don coaches. And if you watch the team, you would know that. Baby, they don't play defense. And if you listen to the post game press conference, Don gonna tell you that. Like just basic simple shit that y'all don't do, but then y'all will come on here ready to jump people. Like we are always ready to cuss a bitch out. Like that is fam 101. But within reason, people. Within reason. And to guarantee that we gonna beat LSU, whether we do or don't, is just not how we get down on this side of town. That's just not how we get down. Now, will we say if we execute, we don't think LSU? Yes, I think that is a valid basketball statement. But please, please be the most fucking for real. I don't care if we ain't beat them in 30 years. When they come up in this bitch, we trying to beat them by 45. But to think that it's going to be a blowout on our side is crazy, y'all. It's fucking crazy. Them ain't no kids. Sergeant them going to be coming trying to bust windows out cars. Please. Now we can get into it. I need y'all to be the most fucking for real that y'all can possibly be.
Since we're talking about being the realest we can be, I need every LSU fan under the sound of my voice to hear me loud and clear. Y'all are not UCLA. There is nothing about your team that is similar to UCLA. Comparing what happened during the UCLA South Carolina game to whatever may happen in LSU South Carolina, y'all are not the same team. I don't care how great Anissa's been playing. Anissa is not Lauren Betts. She is not Lauren Betts. Ain't going to turn into Lauren Betts by Thursday. Anissa is Anissa, and Lauren Betts is Lauren Betts. Point blank period. And now we can have the discussion about the game. Every discussion I've seen has been like, well, y'all weren't able to do this versus UCLA. You're not UCLA. So stop comparing it to the UCLA game. It's not the same. If we're being quite honest, based on y'all math, you played a close game with Tennessee. Tennessee played a close game with Oklahoma. South Carolina waxed Oklahoma. Just based on y'all math. That's the math that y'all be using. So you're more of a, you know what I'm saying? But you ain't UCLA. So yes, let's go.
All right. So when you look at both teams, who are the X factors? We know the usuals, but who else do you think? Sometimes it's harder than others to pick whose night it will be, especially in the case of South
Ooh.
Carolina. But who needs to be on
Wait,
for
so who
LSU and
needs to
South
be on
Carolina?
or X Factor?
Who need both? Let's do both. Who needs to be on, and then who could be that X factor?
My X factor for South Carolina is going to be Chloe. I
Mm.
think that Chloe has to find a way to stay on the floor. and that's going to be through her defense. Chloe's defense has been very up and down the last couple of games, and I think they're going to need more consistency from her because there's some things that Chloe brings to the team, rebounding and offensively wise, that we haven't gotten to see as much lately because Donna's been pulling her out because of her defense being not so great. So I'd like to see more from her.
X Factor.
For
I'll give you Sanaya
LSU,
Fagan for go ahead, Lo.
That wasn't me. I'm thinking.
Oh,
you can
oh,
go
y'all, you
ahead.
you still going?
I was thinking about LSU.
Um,
Go ahead and talk about Fagan.
for for South Carolina, it's definitely Fagan for me. I think, like I've been tweeting, I think Fagan is slowly moving herself into top center territory in the country, but I think this is going to be a different matchup just because of physicality. And I think Fagan can't get sucked into the emotion of the game. I think she's going to just have to execute, play smart, and stay on the floor. Because her experience in this matchup is valuable. Her rookie year, we went to LSU, and the starters were lackadaisical and not playing
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yep.
Don threw her in the game, and she was the X factor and the reason why we were able to end up winning that game.
Yep.
And I think that type of experience will serve her. And the funny thing is that I think this LSU team is very similar to that LSU team. That LSU team had
Caleb Pointer.
um, Caleb Pointer, Alexis Morris, and I think Alexis Morris. If not, they had another really good guard. And then they had two post players, similar, to, in my opinion, to the way that they use Anissa and their other bigs. And so Sanaya on that side. On the LSU side, I do think their X factor will be whoever they play the most minutes in the post. We know Anissa's going to be there, but whoever that second big is will be important. I don't think LSU can get away playing us with Anissa at the five. So, that'll be a big matchup, and then extra pointer for point guard play. Um,
Yeah,
they, go ahead, Lo.
I would say for LSU, their point guard play has to be. I think whoever is playing point guard gotta come to play. Because Flage is your scorer, Michaela can be a scorer. But if that point guard is not doing right to get him the ball and is flustered, that might be an issue. Which I think Kim has alluded to in a lot of her pressers. I think it will have to be either Samaya or Jersey, their X factor, like you said. Just that other person in the paint. Can they have a pulse, really? For us, uh, um, Sanaya, I want to say Miriam. Do I need her when I say X factor? I'm not saying it needs to be somebody that's scoring a lot of points or all of this, but she needs to have a positive impact on the court. Just come in and do what you do the right way. If it's going to give somebody a rest, if it's going to do this, just be something different. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's Miriam.
Yeah. I think for LSU, I like Samaya, being their X factor. She played well when they came to LSU a couple of years ago. I think around that time, LaDeja got in foul trouble and Angel was dealing with a little foul trouble too.
Wait, that's when LSU came to South Carolina the last time.
Hmm.
Yes,
Oh, I don't really remember.
And she was just a freshman then, I believe.
she
And
was.
that's
That's
when I
right.
was just like, okay, I saw the vision for her, but she got injured, the next year. But I think she's been starting to get back in her groove. And
She's foul.
so,
She always ends up
yeah,
going out because she's
she
foul.
gonna have to stay on the court
Yeah, I remember.
because she does a good job of making people second guess when they go to the rim because she's a really good shot blocker when she's not, getting caught with the foul. So I think she could be of good help in the paint, especially you don't want Anissa down there in the five all game because South Carolina has a plethora of bigs to throw at her, and so fatigue will set in if
Yep.
they're not giving her that rest that she needs.
Do we see
This
80-yard minutes?
We might.
probably.
It
I think
depends.
they'll try to route.
It depends though. South Carolina is playing a quick pace game. I don't know.
True.
It depends on how they play it. But I do
It's
think.
not.
I'm sorry.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Lo.
If they
No, no,
do
no. You
play
good.
a high pace game, then they feel like they're gonna have another guard gonna have to step up because I don't know how that's gonna work for Williams because she be tired sometimes.
I'm interested to see. Well, not interested. I do think this is going to be a mental game for Lay, not in a bad way. I think it's going to be a game where you've heard the noise. I mean, Fly J's daddy was on Instagram talking shit. Um, you've seen the tweets, or you know of the tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people are going to make a big deal out of, and I think Fly J is going to take it personal, the championship game. Um, and so get not doing too much, but also making sure you're locked in enough
Mm-hmm.
to still be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't want to come in and play less than your level, but you also don't want to do too much,
Mm-hmm.
because one thing LSU does know how to do is feed off of mistakes. Um, and I think they do a really good job at that. I also think Michaela's gonna be looking to have a big game. So she also, same as Lay, can't come in and try to do too much, but you also don't want to be lower than your level of play. So it's funny that both of them are sophomores, because I think both of them are going to be looking to be themselves in the best way. But if either one of them tries to do too much or doesn't do enough, that won't help their teams.
Agreed.
Okay. So, are there any other games that you all think could be those big moments for the week?
I don't even know who else playing, Joe.
Mm, let me check. 1 second.
I think the only
I
top
do
teams
think
that we
even
mentioned
with
that
this
haven't
game
had any.
though, I think it could be close or not. I don't think it's in between.
I agree.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
that wraps
No.
up the college portion, and then we're going to head into the basketball that we've seen over the past weekend with the debut of the Unrivaled League. There were a lot of conversations going on this weekend about Unrivaled. We've seen the content, we've seen the fun moments between the players, and we're excited because players have an additional opportunity to stay home and make money in a domestic league and not go abroad. So with the first weekend or the inaugural weekend of an Unrivaled basketball play, what were some of the moments that really had you like, wow? And then, what were some of the moments that had you probably like, I know you fucking lied?
The Phantom made me say, "I know you fucking lying."
Yeah.
Um,
The whole Phantom, like everything about them was very,
abysmal.
Phantom
yeah.
is
Sabrina, Satu, I don't even remember who else,
Loud, BG, Katie
and
Lou
Natasha
Samuelson,
Heidemann,
and Hyman. Yeah.
interesting.
Not just them though. Stewie's team,
Spinks.
or Stewie just as a person. Oh, not as a person.
Who is
Stewie
the player? Yeah.
in Unrivaled has been not good.
But they said
Um,
Stewie ain't pick up a ball in a minute. She's been traveling and hanging with family and eating wine and cheese over in Spain. And I was like, yeah, it looks like it. It looked like it.
And so I made notes of some of the few bright spots. I think some of those players were Nafisa Collier,
Ryan
Skylar,
Howard.
yeah, Skylar Diggins Smith, Ryan Howard, and Alicia Gray. Those were I think,
Enrique,
Enrique as well.
um,
You said De'Erica?
Yeah.
Rakia,
De'Erica?
um,
Oh yeah,
America
De'Erica.
is
Erica.
hooping.
It's
Shit,
been some
Faith was doing
really,
good.
Tiffany Hayes
yeah.
has been
Shit, the
really
whole
good.
Laces
Alyssa
team,
Thomas,
actually. The whole Laces
Alyssa
Somebody
team.
made
Thomas.
somebody made like I don't know if they do MVPs for Unrivaled or not, but somebody made a pretty good point in how like the WNBA is kind of ran by the power forwards and the centers in a sense, but 3x3 might be the league where it's like you see all the guards just constantly winning like
N-
MVP type vibe if they do MVP. Cause it's meant for them. It's meant for the guards that can really like break motherfucker down and get to the basket.
That's true, but I think the best teams have a big who understands
Yep.
what being a big
They
like.
too.
Like
Yeah.
because De'Erica understands being out there and playing her role as a big. She
Yep.
cuts well, she boxes out well, she does that stuff well. Alyssa
He's playing like a
Thomas,
power forward, a point
yeah,
forward.
Alyssa Thomas, they're so good because Alyssa knows how to play her role. It makes it hard to, you know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
that shit Nafisa, same way. And I think the teams who are
The
struggling
big
are teams
guards.
the teams who are struggling are the teams that don't particularly have that. Like the Phantom, they got Satu and her defense is non existent. She be out there always trying to shoot threes. And Stephanie Dolson does that as well, but Stephanie also take her ass down in the paint.
And she's
Um
on a team where she doesn't have to do that all
because AT
game.
ass down there.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Who else? The Roses, I think Azare cuts really
Henry could
well.
be that
Yeah,
person. They
Angel
have
still,
moments
yeah,
where
Azare cuts very well. You could tell she has the IQ piece. Angela get there. But I feel like that's why they're stumbling a little and yeah, they guards. But who else hasn't won?
missed Stewie's team.
Out the motherfucker she's out of, you said she been eating bread and cheese and wine, motherfucker out of shape. Um, So yeah, I think while I do the guards getting busy for real, I think the what's holding it down is the big that know to be big,
How to play
a
off of.
high IQ big, a
Yeah.
high IQ big is the key.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so yeah, those were the names that I have for bright spots. Underwhelming, you all have mentioned Satu, Sabrina, Stewie. Um,
We going through like those who have been underwhelming.
yeah, underwhelming.
The whole Phantom team, to be honest.
Also,
Natasha
shout out to K Mac. Y'all know people. You know,
K
me and her
Mac been
have our
She been
hooping.
doing good.
history, but K Mac has been looking good.
Dare I say I feel like that team is doing really well, and I don't mean it's a shade. It's because the whole team is role
Rose,
players,
clock it.
and I think other teams aren't doing okay. 3-on-3, you can 100%. You have to be cool as a goddamn cucumber to play 3-on-3 because you can get fucked up being a prisoner of the moment. You're gonna get scored on in 3-on-3. You're gonna probably get embarrassed a little bit in 3-on-3 because that's the nature of the game. You can't get caught up in the moment. And I feel like some teams who aren't winning are getting caught up in moments, trying to do too much because, oh, this happened to me, and oh, I'm trying to do this and do that. So that's the interesting caveat as well.
So I think teams that can deal with players that go rogue. Because Lord knows, Sweet Baby Ray goes rogue.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That last game was
But
awful. I don't know what the fuck that
but
was.
when that team, I think that's the team with Ryan and Enrique and them.
Hmm.
That team can afford it because once Ryan and them get back in the game, they know what the roles are immediately,
Hmm.
and they
Yeah.
all tap into doing it. And also, I think like chemistry, player to player chemistry is so important, and the little small relationships that are built or that are being built matter. Like that trust, player to player. Like,
Also,
am I just going? Go ahead, love.
can we mention that the girlies always like, and y'all know I do not go up for this goddamn girl. She is not my favorite player by any means. But the girlies said, "Oh, can Enrique pass? Can Enrique play this and this?" Enrique and Ryan are playing fine together.
Yes,
Y'all.
yes,
Yeah.
they are.
They're doing
You
fine.
know who else is trying to play and fine together?
Who?
Alicia and Skylar.
Yep.
That was her bet.
So
Listen, either Leash going to Seattle or Skylar coming to
she going
Atlanta.
to Atlanta because don't play with me. Cause so it's
Cause
very
I
much
feel
if
like Leash is Skylar's type of player, honey.
yeah. So it's just been very and to me and throughout there I know I've also seen stuff about Lexi Hole not playing and it's a little disheartening because she can play really really good defense. But I feel like in 3-on-3 you have to really be able to get a bucket like. You have to be able to play decent defense and get a fucking bucket. If you can't get a fucking bucket, then I cannot have you on the court. For real.
And getting a bucket in 3x3 means playing through contact, getting a
Yeah.
bucket. Like
Ooh.
you can't just like be a crash out in three
Yeah,
on
like
three.
you gotta
Like you got to be a skilled player.
hmm you gotta
Got
do
to be a
something.
skilled player.
Yeah. So
So who do we feel like? I want to do this. So we've seen 3-on-3, and I know there's so many pieces that have come out of it. You know, there are people mentioning that some people should have been unlimited instead of unrivaled.
That is
Some
true.
some people are getting exposed, etc. Who do we feel like should have probably been playing in a 5-on-5 environment instead of 3-on-3?
Lexi,
Satu.
So
Sabrina.
when they say this league is the league for the 36 best players, we can now take that away. As we can see by the players that don't get to play a lot. But some of them shouldn't even been unrivaled. They should have just stayed at the house and trained with the trainer. Or athletes unlimited. But Ray
yeah, Ray.
should have stayed unlimited. Um, Kate, I know she's doing well, but she needs to be unlimited. Um,
Low key, hate to say it, but outside of them chase style blocks, DJ Day too, honey. Cause
Yeah.
I be
right? No shit.
I like the chase down blocks are fun, but the
Love
offense is
Aaliyah,
very
but
limited.
I don't think she should have been unlimited or unrivaled. She should have been with the trainer.
Aaliyah, her issue to me is she always looks frazzled. She looks
Correct.
scared.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
is
deal with
that
it.
train like? Because I
It
tweeted like, calm down, like what's going on,
it
sister?
it felt very much near tears because you missed two mid range
Yeah,
shots. Like
like
I can't deal with
to
it.
me it doesn't seem
If
It's
you
like a
can,
gym thing. It seems like a mental thing. Like she looks.
because
it's a confident.
PTSD from last year, and once she settled down, she started to do what
Ah,
she needed to
see.
do. But
I
it
agree,
definitely
but
was
everybody
like
want to deal with that every fucking game.
she might just need to see a sports psychologist.
Cause she really
You
looked
know,
like
this
I felt like I could feel her
listen,
nervous.
nothing
I
mentally.
I did too, low.
I could
Good
feel her
God.
nervous energy.
Yeah.
After she missed that layup, that one possession, I was like, "Oh
And
baby,
it's
we."
weird because I feel like she hesitated taking some shots, and I'm like, what is going on with you? Like that, like you are. It's like I feel like I got more confidence in her than she got in herself. Like you are a
Our
Leah,
last one probably fucked her up,
you are a
man.
Leah fucking Boston, bitch. Like
Go big.
yeah, not
And again,
like you're that girl. You had 5 people sit guarding you. Like
And I have the
remember,
pictures to prove it.
yeah, like why are you? What you got going on that you looking scary?
yeah. Once she settled down, she looked good as fuck. Like I will say, she is in her situation. I don't like the fact that Teresa doesn't let the two lineups get burned between each
I
other.
was just about to ask is that
I
like
think she
I
played
don't.
better with Enrique or Ryan on the court, though, for
Yeah,
sure.
at least one of them. Like just at least one of them.
Yeah.
I could
She
see that.
does well being able to like. There was a possession one game where um Canada threw it down to her. She got doubled or ran into a wall, kicked it out to the three, and they made the three. Like, and imagine that option with Orion or Enrique. Like, you can trust that they gonna get the bucket, or if they catch drive it, they gonna take the next man and you get an easy bucket off the lay. Like, so I do think that is a part of it, but I just can't deal with the. Oh, it just gave me. You know when your armpits start sweating because you're nervous,
Yeah,
like, oh God,
You
oh
know,
God.
she was making me a little nervous, too. I was like, calm down.
yeah,
It's
like
going to be
it was weird.
It's, but yeah, once she settled down, it was fine. And for the people that were saying, well, why don't you post her missed shots? Well, her unrivaled stat, she's still shooting over 6%.
Yeah,
So,
she made like, she
so
missed like the first three and then made the rest. The rest of
all of them.
the game,
Yeah.
like,
So just, let's put that caveat there. If y'all want this to be an equal opportunity situation, we can do that. Um, just make sure you know the stats that you're looking for. But
Agree.
yeah.
you know
Okay.
who I think is a like the potential to be a really good Unrivaled player, but probably should have took the summer with the trainer, Shakira.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
Still
yes, yes, yes.
you
recovering from her injury, and you can see her finding her footing, but I think the game's too fast sometimes, and you can definitely tell that she hasn't played in a little minute, so sometimes like the shots just don't be there or she looks rushed. She definitely don't look like the Shakira
Well, she
of
get to that
old.
damn basket though when she want to. She
Yeah.
just throw that bitch over it, but we gonna get there. Cause
Okay.
Shakira's a bad bitch.
So we're seeing a lot of conversation coming out of Unrivaled in regards to. We're going to call this fan fiction be damned. I think this is where Dolores. I think you wanted to talk about some things.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, I went to sleep last night when that whole Kennedy shit happened. But I think
I
I'm
mm,
confused. I woke up because I didn't see it happen. A little confused because her tweet. I guess to me, my question would be, why would your first assumption be that she was talking about Angel?
bingo.
That
That's
that
exactly what I said last
that would
night.
be my first assumption. Um, Two, I feel like it wasn't when I read it. It wasn't like a Now it was definitely if the shoe fit, wear it type of tweet, but it didn't come off as Once again, I had no context. I woke up and read it. It didn't come off as like super super shady. It just came off as like, bitch, y'all got to make layups. Like, fuck, we hooping. You know
Bingo.
what I mean? So I thought that was interesting, and I also like I think Angel ends up being in stuff sometimes because of how her
Of
fans
the
react
fans.
to it, and I feel like she didn't have to be. Because to me, maybe I'm tripping. If she would have just tweeted that and they wouldn't have made a big deal, like, oh, you talking about Angel? Okay, cool. But now I'm embarrassed because damn, they talking about me again. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like sometimes she's in stuff that she doesn't have to be in. You know what I mean? Like, my name is trending now again because of this bullshit. And I just,
My ish. Go ahead,
and
love.
in that, it's like, everybody's this, it's like, oh, everybody's so mean to her, this and this and this. But it's like, I watch a lot of these same people drag Raven through the mud. Literally for existing. Raven doesn't talk much. She doesn't do much. She be hugging her fucking teammates in the middle of the game when they don't want to be fucking hugged. That's what Raven does. And it's just like, y'all, them babies do not be wanting to be hugged right now. Like, Lord, I mean. And it's the same thing. And if you say something is, oh, well, she can't shoot. It's just a fact. Okay, so then could that same logic not be applied? So it's just very pick and choosy. And I, once again, am in no way defending Kennedy because she got her own shit going on. But from the outside looking in on somebody who wasn't here when it happened, it did really feel like y'all ended up putting Angel's name in it when it didn't have to be. So now she wakes up to something else of her name circulating when it just didn't have to be. She could have been chilling.
So I think it's 2 points. Like, one, what if every situation cannot be they're out to get me, they're out to get me, they're out to get me. And the sad part is that Angel's not the one saying it. It is her fans doing it on her behalf. So you had an issue with Azare because Azare was friends with Dana, and because you felt like Dana had an issue with Angel, then Azare is out to get Angel. Or at one point, Kennedy and Angel were super cool, TikToks, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then as soon as Kennedy does something or tweets something that doesn't align, now Kennedy's out to get her, and that's why she can't get a job. And even going back further, when they were high school, college competitors, deport her. She's not better than her. She shouldn't be a lottery pick. Once they're on team, oh, well, screw the college rivalry. Like, it don't really matter, as long as Camilla's assisting Angel in Angel's greatness. So when y'all create these relationships and create these Camilla and Angel stand pages and stand these people and create this fan fiction about relationships that you don't know about, anytime you see something that doesn't align with your vision of that relationship, you're going to be upset. So if your prevailing narrative is that everybody in the world thinks Angel can't shoot and can't make layups, because that's what we see a lot of times when we see the stats, then you're going to make anything that anybody said about layups that's potentially remotely close to Angel about her. Like when
Mm-hmm.
Asia said during the WNBA season, I don't worry about rebounds. Y'all about jumped off the cliff because you thought she was shitting on Angel's double doubles. Y'all are in making her a victim of situations that have nothing to do with her, and then telling people, well, she got motion, so people gonna make highlights about her shit. Well, baby, if y'all didn't talk about it, it wouldn't be nothing to discuss. Y'all are creating the motion and creating a victim in a situation that does not need a victim. It's just hoops talk. The same way y'all will tweet, you know, Lay is generational. She needs to transfer. Like, that's hoops talk. Like, so why do we have to make it a big deal every time? Like, that should be
And
unnecessary.
then
Like,
Angel
it'd
didn't
be
even
unnecessary
play last night, so
at
why?
all. That's what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. But yeah, please, I just
But also, to that point, it made me, I know B's gonna segue into that. A lot of fan fiction could be avoided with more transparency in media. So I'm gonna let
bingo,
you,
clock it.
like, a lot of fan fiction could be avoided if WNBA media did not
Did a
carry
better
water
job,
for players,
and it's
franchises, and people
and
in
we've been
general.
saying that
Like,
for years,
years.
literally years.
Like,
Well, here we
when
are.
a
Go ahead for it.
when so we got information about qualifying offers in the WNBA,
Mm-hmm.
and players that were cord, and we found out that Kennedy was not extended a qualifying offer. Queen Egbo, Charisma Osborne, and two other players were not extended qualifying offers. And we had two different approaches. Like, once Kennedy made the tweet, it's like, well, clearly you were shitty at the franchise. You and Angel had beef, so that's why they didn't bring you back. And then we also had the little weird guy be like, well, if this was the MNBA or if this was the NBA, she would definitely, it don't matter like what her beef is with anybody. She's the best player, so give her an offer. Um, I think WNBA fans and sports fans in general are smart enough to make their own decisions about stuff when they know basics. And I think if there's an issue that takes place or if there's turmoil in the locker room, you don't got to tell us somebody got their ass beat, but you have to let fans know that because that is a part of the game. If a GM and a player are at odds or a GM and an agent are at odds, that's important. Like all that information is common to the sport, and by not telling those stories in media, you are dumbing the league and making a mockery out of it. Because as the league grows and as fandom grows, people are gonna want more access. And when they don't get access, what do? Fan fiction. They make up shit. So we've got all these random ass, spacey ass narratives being created about teams like Chicago because outside of Annie, ain't nobody saying shit. And when Annie says stuff, y'all be ready to kill her. So it's like, that's the organization where we don't know a lot about. In New York, we know too fucking much because all the media there are best friends with the players. And it's unfortunate. And like, I think a lot of the fan fiction in the W would be just generally null if basic shit was communicated because people would then be able to make their own decision. Like, if Kennedy is a toxic player in the locker room, Atlanta communicated what the hell happened verbatim, or if LA communicated what the hell happened, or if Chicago was like, well, you know, her and the GM were at odds, or her agent and the GM were at odds, and it's like, well, shit, three strikes, you're out. Like, but y'all not saying stuff, and then when at the 10th hour, it's like, well, she did X. Well, bitch, it's 3 months later. We don't care no more. And it's coming from sources that are not official media, so then people really don't respect it because they think you got a vendetta against the player. So, like that's my gripe with it, and I also just have to say that like different people get grace to do different shit in the league. And again, if the media was more transparent about it, y'all would know who got DUI arrest and it was held, hidden. Y'all would know who beat their partners down and it's been hidden. Y'all would know who are toxic in the locker room and be fighting every week. but it's hidden. So Kennedy becomes the player that everybody knows about, but she is not the only one. That's my spiel.
That yeah. Well, that covers a lot of it. But going
Wait,
back to
hold
what
on,
we mentioned.
Craig. Coming up.
Oh, hold on. You got him.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay.
I think so. Can you talk now, Craig? He should be able to. Okay.
Yeah, I can talk.
Okay,
You
okay,
know,
there you go.
my gripe with the whole thing is that, like, I feel like Kennedy is been under a microscope, which is cool, but we see the passion. We see, you mean, she only want to get out there and dribble a ball. So that's why you mean, it's not like she out here, you mean, got domestic violence, you mean, cases or stealing or doing this or doing that, hurting people or that, anything pertaining to the game of basketball and an L, she get on here and she gonna gripe. But I don't know. I mean, if anybody's been like passionate about something, I just feel like, you mean, you put yourself in her shoes, you're not going to sit there and let nobody tell you or undervalue you as well. So it is what it is.
And I will say that it's interesting that people that can get behind the like, you're a black woman, like, don't let people shit on you, stand up for yourself, speak out for yourself, get so upset when Kenley does it. Like, so upset. And the reality of the situation is that you can't be pro empowerment, pro black woman if it only applies to people that look conventionally attractive or people that fall under the guise of what you believe empowerment should look like.
Exactly, because Satu get on here and say that she not going this place, that place, and she done with this and that, but they don't have nothing to say about that.
Who?
Satu,
Tatu.
Satu.
you mean,
Oh.
I feel
This
like
is true.
you people, you mean, they pick and choose who opinion is valid and who of them they gotta, you mean,
And
scorn.
I have to be honest, like the Dallas locker room ain't no pretty place to be in. Those girls get down. Okay. But that is not a common knowledge because, media there aren't communicating those stories and a lot of stuff doesn't get leaked. Um,
And
so it,
also,
go ahead.
you have franchise players that want to be treated like franchise players. They want, you mean, to be approached asking, do they need a massage after the game, and da 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 da. You mean that, like, there are accommodations that Brown and Stewart gets, and that, you mean, Asia Wilson and Fee get and stuff like that. And I feel like Kennedy is almost done enough to get that. And you mean, the only thing that's holding her back is, you mean, a
Herself. No
reputation.
shade.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, herself, a
No
reputation.
shade. Yes.
Yeah, she got a
But that also comes with consistency. Like, you mean, when you got a Nikki Collin or a Teresa Witherspoon and you able to keep that around for more than a year, you'll be able to see that. But you don't see that because she has had zero consistency in the league with the things around her.
she gotta do something different though, cause
She also, yeah, she got to move for longevity. I feel like this
yeah,
next move better be her best move, and she got to, you mean, sit there and think about it for a little while and say, you mean, regardless of this, I want to stay here 3, 4, you mean, years
and
max,
I and
minimum.
I know it's not like cause I'm same thing I say with Skylar. When we get to the third strike, baby, I'm looking at you. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that. I'm not saying you got to dumb yourself down for nobody at this point. I'm not saying you need to act like a completely different person. But if you got to shut up and sit on your goddamn hands for a little bit, I'm sorry. That's life. You know what I mean? Is it fair?
Yeah,
No.
100%.
Is it fair? No. But if this is what you love and this is what you want to do, you got to do some shit to get to where you want to go, baby.
But not gonna lie, when she moved to LA, this is why I don't count LA in the strike, because
Uh huh.
when she went to LA, there was a shift in kind of Kennedy's mentality with
Mhm.
teammates. You mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't as self-centered in the post pressers and stuff like that. You mean, it was
Mhm.
about team. It was about, I love Liz, I love Britt, I love, you mean, all this stuff
I
that was
mean, it was kind of like
interchangeable,
that
that was
this year.
changing. You mean? And so that's why I was like, okay, this is different from the Kennedy that we was getting from Atlanta. And so that's why I'm like, for her to say that she loves Chicago and love this and love that, I have no gripes. Then it's like, I mean, then what are we sitting here making up shit for?
I
Well,
also think the way that men operate in the basketball space is more similar to the way that Kennedy operates in the basketball space. And what I mean by that is like raw emotion, interactions between players, kiss, like moments of energy. Like to me, she is like people that I grew up with. She's very similar to those people, like as athletes. Like you fuck up a play, what the fuck are you doing? Type shit. And in the women's space, that that is taboo for certain people. Like we know that DT gets to do shit like that. We know that AT gets to do stuff like that. And I think that they've built the reputation to be allowed to do stuff like that. But I think when we only give certain people the license to do it, when in typical basketball spaces it is commonplace, I think that's where Kennedy kind of bumps heads with people is because I think that her natural inclination is a lot of times to take on the AT type of because in my opinion, when people fuck up on AT's team, she shows that shit on the court. And I don't think it builds confidence in them. But nobody's going around saying AT needs to be a better teammate. They're just not. Skylar, before this situation, that wasn't a common. I know she wasn't beloved in the league, but we weren't going around saying Skylar needs to be a better teammate. Do I think she needs to be a better teammate? Hell yes. Because why the fuck you cussing into her face like that? But my point is that some people are allowed to exist in certain ways that then we turn into, oh my God, she needs to see a therapist, which bothers me when it comes to Kennedy.
Which she already has seen the therapist. You mean which a team made her go see a therapist before they even moved her. So you mean that's that. But I also look back at like a Gary Blair. You mean as a coach, her freshman year, Danny Williams, Anriel Howard. You mean they second year after or Kennedy's second year they left. They couldn't handle the ego. They couldn't handle her getting all the touches, getting all the shine, getting all the attention. And while you mean Ariel went to Mississippi State and did what she did. You mean Danny didn't do much at Texas. You mean all these people transferred out, but it was like she made them better. You mean, but also you gotta accept kind of you mean what come with that. She gonna be. You mean I think she thinks she's a vet in her head,
For
which is
sure.
cool.
Yeah, sound like a lot.
I mean, I feel like it's cause I'ma just be honest. Like for me and Kennedy would not be good teammates together. Like knowing how I operate. However, I understand it because I am a uber competitive person. Like uber. I think part of the W issue with Kennedy is that the way that she thinks of herself is not reflected in the way that people view her. So if we're on a team together and Kennedy's, doing her usual whatnot, if I think I'm also just as big of a star, you're not gonna be able to talk to me like you want to talk to the other teammates. And so I think
But I think that
clashes
comes at the challenge of the star. Like I think if you put
but
her
but
next to somebody that she actually respects, and we've seen it before, and that can actually bust her
but
ass,
but
put her in front
but
of Asia
but
Wilson, I bet you she
I
listened to
think
that.
I think her like leaving it up to her to be like, I respect this person
Yeah, but your
isn't
game. It's all about
isn't
But
game with her.
then, hold on, y'all. To me, like you said, the W don't see her like she sees herself. To me, that is kind of a problem
bingo. That's what I'm yeah.
because I don't. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, last season there wasn't a lot of guards better than she was.
Correct.
So I feel like with the W, one of the problems that the W does have, but people always get mad when you talk about it and stuff, is they don't they got some issues that they need to do a better job with.
I just be feeling like this is a microcosm of society.
It
Like
is.
you see a black woman get snubbed over and over and over and over, and you expect her not to raise her value every time that she gets snubbed. Like we see this more than once in our times.
Yeah.
Like
So I do think the WNBA has an issue because how do you not see how fucking good she is? Like that's the problem. I do
But
agree with that.
I think Kennedy has to help herself in that by making sure that like yes, I think she can continue to keep her underdog mentality. Keep all that makes you you, but in a team setting,
Keep your
if
edge, but
how
buy
I
into the
am
team.
doesn't doesn't help me, like isn't helping me advance, I've got to do something
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit
I agree with
different.
that too, for sure.
And that is where her growth, in my opinion, happens, because everybody is not going to be able to change to accommodate
And they
Kennedy.
shouldn't have
And,
what?
and bingo. And in my opinion, the best leaders, the best winners are people that can be themselves, but also can get people to buy in. And leaders are like sacrifice.
And but
Like
it's just
leaders
so
sacrifice.
twofold.
And so if Kennedy sees herself in this, like, I'm the best player, and I think she is most of the times on most teams, then she's got to find the balance between pulling the best out of people, but also not being the dickhead that nobody wants to play with. Like that's
Yep.
the that's
But
I
that's
should
the
she
agree.
be with other dickheads?
no. Because then we got dickhead on dickhead, and y'all know when we get into dick slinging contests, people start fighting.
But then at the end of the
I think
day,
I think she's safe as long as they winning. I think her main thing been winning and making money. She's a
But
nigga.
when, but
Just want to
winning,
hoop.
like winning, like my point is that for in that organization, in that franchise, winning is there. You just can't expect winning immediately, in my opinion. Were they going to win a lot of games? Sure. It doesn't help, and I think this is something that should have been discussed, that we know for a fact that Angel was left in games to get the double-double streaks. We know that coaching was impacted by stuff outside of winning. We know that. Like, I don't think anybody can debate that or try to debate it, because we saw it in real time. So I'm sure that that doesn't go over well for people like Kennedy.
I knew it
Um,
wasn't gonna go too well when she was coming off the bench. Remember that spaces we had preseason or whatever, and I was like,
but,
she's gonna take the role and she's gonna do something with it. But I also, you mean
but come on,
from
Chris. Like, she got to earn, like, would she eventually be a starter? Sure. But I am not a proponent of just giving somebody something. She was out the league for a minute, and she is the best guard on the team. No questions asked. I think at a point she definitely should have been moved into the starter role earlier, for sure. But I think there we can't say, like, XXX happened, whoop whoop whoop, starter. Because starting a lot of times is about chemistry. And so if chemistry wasn't there, then maybe, what I'm trying to say is that Kennedy has all the bills to be the player she wants to be. She is the female Allen Iverson, in my opinion. But I think inside of that, she's got to find the within herself and within interpersonal relationships on the team how to be herself wholeheartedly without making it hard for other people. And as you stated with Tex Nim's situation, she did make her team better. But if they got up and left, that is on her just as much as on them. And I think that's where she's got to eat it.
now
Like,
this is my next question. This is literally me playing devil's advocate to myself. With her and the W specifically, she has never been, even since she came in the league, given the respect as somebody as good as she is.
oh,
Never.
I agree.
So I do think she needs to be better, right? Because I just said it. But at the same time, why the fuck I gotta beg y'all? This shit about hoops. We talking about hooping.
Right.
Why do I have to beg y'all to acknowledge me or act like I'm even like or even you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's probably a frustrating thing too. But
That,
either way.
to me, that's where the WNBA operating in more of a sorority type
Yes, and
is
that's
an issue.
why I'm like,
That's an issue.
that's why sometimes I'm like, yeah, but burn that shit down because they fucking
Yes,
with you,
for
you know.
sure.
But you can't do that if it's something that you want to be in, right? So you
So
know,
with the remaining, so she's gone through three. So with the remaining 10 teams in the league currently, where is the best fit for her, and or who is the best coach slash mentor player? So you could
That's so tough. A lot of people got new coaches now, and
Yep.
a lot of these coaches haven't really been a part of the W either.
the only
Um,
person that she can go to and sit the fuck down is
Vegas.
yeah. I'm sorry.
I
I
got
think Vegas,
I got
like,
three desired destinations for Kennedy based off of the not only the team and they're winning, but also the coaches. I think she needs a coach that can outsmart her. That's gonna feel like that. She feel like that she is getting taught something, or that she can get a one on one little study session and stuff like that. Um, Number one being Minnesota. She got a cousin, Gia Perkins, that played for Minnesota back in the day. I feel like Cheryl can tap into that and kind
Oh
of
no,
give her
I
a
don't
little bit of
know.
pointers as far as media training.
Good job.
But she was just
Um,
doing
Her
AP.
same team. No, but I don't think because Courtney's there.
yeah, but I think she's already hinted towards her and Courtney. Kind of apologizing to each other and cool. So I think that'll show people
Cool.
that yeah, she can move on. That she's, bigger than her problems or bigger than the issues in the past. Second one would be Aces. I think that with Becky, with Asia Wilson, and with some bigger other names, that she has no other option but to submit. And I think that could be good for her too, just because the wins. And then lastly will be Connecticut. I feel like with the foreign coach, she kind of has a little bit of leeway, and she can kind of
I like that.
get
I didn't think about that. That is
get that going.
I didn't either.
I was thinking about too. I just didn't know how it worked with the coach, but I think Connecticut has the space to make something shake.
Yeah, I don't think she would like the city, but I think that she could play
I
ball
think with
outside.
I think with Kennedy, wherever she goes, whatever she does, she has to make the conscious choice to be her best self, regardless of what is around. Because I think,
this has to be her best spot.
yeah, like there's always going to be somebody like, and I'm saying this as a hothead, like, like I understand, like I get it, but growth and maturity and just like all that comes with understanding, like when I have to sacrifice me for my future.
So say,
And
sit on your
that's
hands for a bit. Sit on your
like,
hands.
and do that. And even when it feel like, even when you're boiling inside, like sit on it. And when I
Now wait a
tell
minute.
you, she will gain the respect of people that that she feels like she's demanded, because all the best players have found ways to get other really good players to still see them as the best player. And that is a skill just as much as being a dog on the court is. Like it just is. And so if she can find a way to like tap into that, the grace aspect, the just giving people the space to get better and improve while keeping a high expectation of them, but also keeping a high expectation of herself, that is what it's going to boil down to. Because I think when she goes into rage mode, which I know because I do it as well, it is, you can't see, like you cannot see clearly. So just finding like space for grace for herself and others, like, but also like knowing that it's not going to be perfect conditions. You might not win every game. You might lose a close game, and it might be somebody else's fault. That's okay.
All right, and so before we wrap up, we want to talk about. Well, Dolores mentioned a few of them. Obviously, we know that Kennedy Carter wasn't extended a qualifying restricted offer or reserve offer, as well as Queen Egbo and a few others. We know the names that have been cored: Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, Alyssa Thomas. Who else has been cored?
I love
Um,
it. I love that these people court them because I feel like a lot of times the W girlies, they be letting anybody walk for
Getting
anything. They
pussy
said,
footed.
bitch, I know
yeah,
y'all want to leave. Watch this. All of
right,
them.
right.
I
And
love
so
it.
that's a good thing. And we know some have already signed their deals. Like Maya Caldwell has already signed her deal. She was like, let me go
So
ahead and just
happy.
stay here. I think Natasha Mack has also signed hers. There have been a few people who have been extended deals also. So now those people who haven't been extended deals, they basically become an unrestricted agent, a free agent. So they're now able um, to negotiate with any team. And those players like Dejanay and Dana, and who have been extended offers, they can still, but because they're restricted, they can still negotiate with other teams. but then their prior teams have the option to basically match those deals. Similar to what happened to Tiffany Mitchell a few years ago. She had signed it. She had an offer from Atlanta, but Indiana decided to match it, so she had to stay in Indiana. Um, but I think the biggest news that we've received today is kind of a two-parter, that there is the general idea that the whole "if this is it" is going to come to pass when it comes to one Miss Diana Taurasi, with this potential, well, with last season potentially being her final year. So she is expected as of now to retire, but then also for the first time in her career, Brittany Griner will test the free agency waters. So that is big. I think that's a part that a lot of people weren't taking into consideration, because I think a lot of people thought that the big splash was probably going to be Satu. But now everybody's like, wait a minute, Satu, get back to the bag. We got the real big dog here. So, that could probably cause a ripple in regards to, opportunities of who could land BG. She could always still go back to Phoenix, but she is now going to be talking to a lot of teams. So what do you think is best for BG, and how do you feel about DC possibly retiring?
How I feel about DT?
Yes.
No one mourns the wicked. Next, BG. Um, she's clear. She's an asset anywhere because she's so big. But I just want her to go somewhere and actually play like she wants to play. I want her to play like a
Baylor
bad
BG?
bitch. That wasn't that great, but that was good energy. So yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I want her to play like play like you know who you are. Like, don't stop bullshitting.
I missed it. What?
Do y'all think that she would get in Nafisa's way
Oof.
if playing with
BG?
Minnesota?
No, I
Yeah.
don't think
I,
so.
I,
I think so.
yes,
Really?
yes.
Think that wherever he goes, I'm interested. Like a lot of these teams are very fast paced now too, so I'm wondering what teams can balance that, like play half court and then also play fast. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing BG. I don't know if she wants to be a part of a rebuild at the moment, but BG could.
You
Where
breaking
are you
up?
underwater?
Wait, Yana,
He
say
went
it again.
swimming.
Oh, I was saying, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I was saying BG could be a solid piece in Golden State because it seems like this is going to be a 1 year contract anyways. So
You think she want to do that though? I can't see that.
a lot of money.
I
Ask
just
for a lot of money. Got money to
I
give.
can
my
see
issue. B-
if
BG has had opportunities to win, y'all, and she's been the reason they lost.
I can see BG going to Golden State. Is they could either miss out completely on this free agency and basically ride with their expansion draft picks and whoever they draft, or they could really shake something up immediately because they have the most money. And remember, they have the facilities, they have the resources, they're going to have the marketing, they're in a major city. They really have an opportunity because they didn't extend the core. They didn't extend the core to Monique Billings, which could have tied her up for the max contract. So they really, I think, as of right now, their highest paid players are KT, and there was one. I think maybe which I get them mixed up. Becca and Talbot, and Stephanie Talbot. So they have a lot of money there. If they get into the whole free agency trades and maybe trade for a Kelsey Mitchell or a Kelsey Plum, I think that could be enough to entice a BG to possibly sign there, and maybe even trading for a three. Like right now, who's their three? KT and Kate Martin. Like they could really make something happen, and that's the only way I see BG going somewhere like that, because you're not going to go to a team that doesn't have the resources. So kiss that goodbye, Chicago, Connecticut, Atlanta, and Dallas.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
I
if
mean,
I've
what
been
if that's
spoiled
not?
and I've had my
What if
own
that's
for
not her
all these
focus
times,
no more? What if she want to go somewhere to be a family lady and raise her child? What if
Mm,
her focus has shifted? I'm near the end of my career. I just had a baby. I've had this nice facility. I'm cool on that. I just want to go somewhere nice where I can raise my family. Because don't you think when you get older, your priorities change a little bit? I think she's on the down, not in a bad way, on the downside of her career. What if it's not about all of this money and a big facility? What if it's
But
about
now,
finding
but
somewhere
also,
comfortable for my
she's
family?
getting older too, and BG has had some injury history, so she would probably want someplace that can rehabilitate her.
But I feel like you're an athlete, you're going to get rehabilitated anyway, even if it's not in a nice facility. They're going to send you to the doctor down the road. Period.
Great
Well,
You know what I
Alabama
mean?
advocate, low.
I'm not. I'm being serious. Like it might not be in a nice, pretty facility, but you're gonna get the top tier treatment at the damn ortho down the street. You just are. So
Now she's sending her to Roper.
I'm just. I just.
what
What
says
if I'm just. I'm just. Just saying. What if her.
Now that's true.
Um. What if
So
it's just
if not,
not
then
about that at this point?
if not, like so, if she were to go to one of the have-nots, who would be the best? Atlanta.
connect.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying.
All of them. All of them. Because I think right now, with it being so close to expansion, like everybody, this free agency could randomly be good. Like everybody's in the running to be the next big destination. Do I think the top teams are still the top, like Vegas and New York? Hell yes. But and even Minnesota, like to me, Minnesota's one free agent away or two free agents away from being up in that tier as well. But with the amount of people that are free agents, with the amount of people that can be traded with these core tags, shit, a team we're not even thinking about can be a contender this year. And I think BG is one of the players that can make them a contender. My only issue is that similar to the way we talked about Satu, like, is she gonna show up?
Right.
I would definitely take BG.
I don't know because BG will quickly say, "I don't want to play today. Sit me down."
Satu won't.
They both will.
Oh yeah.
But in my opinion, on Satu's bad days, at least they're like it's something. BG be the tallest person on the court and be looking like she gonna take herself out the game because Aaliyah touched her. Like, she can't.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
basically, it sounds like Phoenix is going to look a lot different this year. Um, ooh, Nalissa.
I know
Well,
is
no, B,
if they move on from BG, they cannot do what they did when they got rid of Bree Turner and didn't get nobody in replacement of her. And Phoenix might have to do something different with Beck Allen too.
She be hurt, ain't it?
Yes. And they're playing her as the four.
Oh no, yeah.
okay. Well, free agency teams are able to. Oh, another thing with free agency now, teams can officially, as of today, trade their 2027 picks. I don't know if any teams will want to trade that because remember that is the draft that has Juju, Hannah, Malaysia, Madison, Michaela. I'm not sure about Flage will be 2026, the latest. So yeah, so there are a lot of great players in those classes, in that class, excuse me. So, but that is an opportunity, or excuse me, that is an option where players and GMs could trade those picks. We know that contracts are able to be signed starting February 1st, and so over the next few days, you'll start to hear some agreements possibly with players and where they'll be signing for their next destinations or staying put. So buckle up for that. We know we have a lot of good games coming up the rest of this week, so stay tuned for that. And then Unrivaled for its second weekend this week. What, Lo?
Nothing. You'll see it.
Okay.
Can I also can I also say I just gotta bring this up. Um,
Hold on.
um the fact that y'all know we got beef, but to say that this Robert is the first opportunity to stay and play in America is
Yeah,
fucked up.
that was
Like
horrible.
I truly I can't not bring it up. It's just fucked up. So best of luck continuing with Unrivaled. I've really enjoyed the games. I wish they were a little bit more competitive. We need some trades. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm also excited for Athletes Unlimited as well, and both opportunities to stay and play in America.
Your family get to see you up close and personal. So, if there's not anything else, I know Rob probably cussing us out right now. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Stay tuned. Everybody, tell Shay happy birthday on the timeline. And we're gonna sing happy. Y'all want to sing a happy birthday to Shay? Is she in
She's not
here?
even in here.
She not in here. Okay, well, send us a video telling happy. And if you're in the clique, wish Shay a happy birthday too. So as always, thank you for listening. Thank us for speaking. We'll see you all next week. Bye.